Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 46 of the Locker Room Life podcast, brought to you by Buddy Hockey Club, Best Damn Tape, DraftKings Sportsbook, and Quench Hydration. Boys, here we are. It's another episode with the boys, with my brothers, my compadres, Owen Baker, Logan Kuvo. I'm one of your hosts, Frank. We're here. We're doing it. Another amazing interview. Let's get into it, boys.
Fellas, it's good to be back as always. You know, life's been good. Just training, doing a little bit of work. And people, your boy is heading to UFC Fan Fest in Washington, D.C. at the Capitol in June. I won the tickets, and our co-host Logan Kuvo will be accompanying me. We're huge UFC fans, and you know that's just been unbelievable that I even got the opportunity to go to that. And I'll have to update you guys when it comes. But other than that, just enjoying the playoff hockey, and we're gonna rip around about it a little bit after this. But fellas, the first round is officially over.
I'm so excited for UFC White House. I'm selfishly, as big of a hockey fan as I am a UFC fan, they definitely go hand in hand for me. But very excited. Glad Bakes is bringing me along. He didn't have to do that. I literally was like, Bake, you're not going to win these tickets. I was like, you're not going to win these tickets. I'm like, I'm sorry. And he's like, all right, or whatever, man. And then he calls me. He's like, I got the tickets. And we were both jumping up and down, but I officially wrapped all my classes up. I'm no longer a student anymore. Graduation looms in about 12 days, people. And it's just back in Columbus, back to the basics before, I've never had a life without school. So it's very interesting and I'm excited for it. It's going to be so much fun. The playoffs have been amazing. I was glued to my screen last night.
Hey, I'm so happy you won those damn tickets because you know what? You weren't discouraged by the fact that you couldn't win. Because a lot of people are like, I'm not going to win. And why should I play? It's like the lottery. The best motto the lottery ever made is literally the motto is you can't win if you don't play. Which if you think about it, is genius. It's true. A lot of people are like, I'm not going to play the lottery. You think the guy who plays the lottery that just won is like, don't get me started on the lottery because it's fixed anyway. But I'm just saying, in theory, it's just a warm, feel-good story. So let's go with that. But AZ boys, here I am. Cooking outside in the sun this weekend by the pool, having a couple cool ones, checking out my friend's puppies just zipping around. Just a perfect little weekend. The playoff injuries, but boys, I'm battling through an injury myself.
Oh, no.
An ear infection.
Brother, I had a double ear infection my last year of 18U. It was awful.
It's crazy. This feeling when you have an ear infection, for those educating on an ear infection, I've probably felt this also. It literally locks your jaw and your gums hurt, which is the craziest integration of your muscles and the coordination of your muscles together. It shows you everything's interlinked. I was like going to bed and I was like, why do my gums hurt?
That's when you feel
and I don't do many things well, but I can tell you, I brush my jibs. All right. That's one thing. Rain or shine, I'm in there. Getting these things clean, getting these things ready for the day. But I don't know if gingivitis, who knows at this point. I've been having this issue and I've just been dumping some alcohol drops in it, which apparently you're not supposed to do, but I do it anyway. It helped a little bit, but I had such soreness. So
yeah,
I'm battling through it. I haven't gone to the doctor. So if you see the next post from me in the doctor's office, it's because I was stupid and didn't go to the doctor. But your boy is just he's just battling through.
No,
ear infection.
I think you'd go to the Minute Clinic for that. I think you can just be like, hey, I need some antibiotics. And that's what cleared mine up. It obviously didn't clear it up fast, but like when I had my double ear infection, like, I don't know about you, man. The first 3 days, I was just like fever in my bed, just like awful. It was terrible. And I got it on a sleeper bus.
Yeah. I mean, you can just feel also the water like jiggling around in my ear. So I definitely think there's something anatomically incorrect that's going on here. That's a bigger issue, but we'll address that later. Injuries, playoffs, first round's done. Where are we ripping first, boys?
It's been madness. Last night, I just want to give a shout out. Jakob Dobish. Holy. Oh my goodness. Ohio State Buckeye. What can I say? And a great guy too. He's awesome. He comes into my dad's shop all the time. And just to see that and to like, I was watching it. I was like, could you imagine his emotions right now? Could you imagine how he's feeling? You have the whole Bell Center back home watching for you. And you were the guy who pushed them on to the next round. And the 9 shots, definitely gritty. But hey, what can you say, man? That's why we love this game. And there's just been so many cool things, but I wanted to start there.
I mean, like you said, Logan, 9 shots, the least amount of goals or shots on net the team has had in a game that they won in Stanley Cup history. 0 shots second period, and they pulled it off. Hockey's amazing, and the second round, Carolina and Philly already played game 1 as we're recording this, but fellas, Carolina they look scary, and Logan Stankoven, shout out him. What a playoff run this guy's on. He has scored every single game they have played so far this run. And yeah, Philly, they're gonna have to get creative and find ways to score, because right now there's no answer for it.
Me and Frankie clashing. Philly, Canes. I want Philly. Come on. Flyers pull through.
I want to roll it back to the Tampa Bay Montreal. We talked about it last episode. I think it's just great to see a new young team, especially the storylines with Martin St. Louis, just him going back to Tampa, everything connected there. But boys, it's just to win a game 7. That win, yes, they won the series, which was amazing, but what it did for their confidence in themselves in this hockey club this year and what they're trying to accomplish. But that's what we talk about all the time. To win the Stanley Cup, to win on any playoff run, it doesn't matter what league you play in. It's the team who gets hot, who believes in themselves, the self-confidence, and you guys start thinking way over the moon. You're like, we're feeling ourselves. This can happen. This can really happen. And as you go on with games like that, so I love it from a character aspect. That's what makes this game amazing. Underdog teams that everybody, yes, we publicize it a lot, but if you really look at it on just the level of great sports stories, it's awesome. Jakub Dobich was like asked, "Hey, did you talk to Vasilevsky?" And he's like, "I was trying to," and like you could tell that moment he was just so happy that he was there. He was so happy that he was being able to be part of something and be part of a huge win. So yeah, I like to see him be able to pull something out for the club. So Montreal, Le Canadien, it's good to see them buzzing again. In terms of Carolina, man, they look like a wagon, obviously. House money, Buddy Hockey Club, we're behind it. We're pushing it. I just like to see Gritty, that scumbag, just get his face pushed into. Did you guys see the mascot? There's a mascot.
Dude, the Twitter beef
between the two mascots,
so
between
funny.
the Carolina Hurricanes mascot and Gritty. I love it. The beauty of the social media age. But yeah.
Dude, and what about that Wild game last night?
Ridiculous.
9-6 barn burner. Why? And like the Avs are scary, man. The Wild looked really good last night, but the Avs are scary. I think they could be due. I said it last night. I was watching it with my girlfriend. I was like, the winner of this series, I think, is going to be the one to take home the cup.
It's hard you look at Minnesota and what they've done. They finally get out of the first round, and now they're facing a powerhouse Colorado. I mean, if you score 6 goals in the game, there's no reason 9 times out of 10 you shouldn't win that game. But fellas, I wanted to ask you quickly, out of all the teams that have moved on and all the upsets, who would be like the team that Florida was 3 years ago when they were the 8th seed and walked to the cup final? Because there's been a couple upsets, and it's up for grabs.
I mean, I'll go first. I got a special feeling about this Canadiens team, especially if they can survive. And you hear me out for a sec. If they can survive and pull splits on the road, get back to Bell Center. And I know that's probably not the best comment because they did lose to Tampa, force game 7 in the Bell Center, but I just feel like the energy, and they're playing, lack of a better term, they're playing with house money as well. Their accomplishment was to get into this round, to give Tampa a really good fight. And, at that point, I'm sure it was like, see where the chips lay. But them winning at this point, they're everybody's worst nightmare. There's nothing worse than a team like that has nothing to lose coming for you because they don't care. They're not even supposed to be there. So I'm saying Le Canadien.
I'm like a Flyers fan show over here, but I think the Flyers, if they can subdue the Canes, listen, I think only if they can subdue the Canes, the rabid dogs that they are right now, I think that the Broad Street Bullies could pull off a Cinderella at the Stanley Cup. But what do I know? We'll see. The puck will tell us eventually. It's definitely crazy. And I'm just so blessed that we are involved in hockey, that we love hockey. I mean, this game's just so much fun.
Boys, a little bit of sad news for a kid growing up in Michigan. For those of you who know this small mom and pop hockey store that was founded in Flint 50 years ago, it's Bronny's Hockey World. And that's one of those stores that were a kid that your parents would bring you to and your eyes would just light up. It's one of those where, they have it all. They had the shooting gallery that you could do. Like I had multiple birthday parties there, and it has recently been bought out by Pure Hockey, which it's kind of sad to see. And it's another one of those situations where a big conglomerate swallowed up a mom and pop and they were just no longer able to compete. And so all the stores around this area have now been rebranded to Pure Hockey. And that's what I was driving down on the way back from the rink the other day. And I had to do a double take because it's no longer gone. So it's just a little sad to see. And is this going to continue?
I remember the days before Pure Hockey of like Hockey Giant, Hockey Monkey, which were like Pure Hockey before Pure Hockey was a thing. And then Piranhas came into the mix, and I'm in Ohio. They have some here, and just what a congratulations to the family. I mean, that's an amazing accomplishment to be acquired for them. So it's of course amazing, but definitely a little sad in the hockey front. I mean, I was growing up, I was always grabbing my gear from there, and definitely going to be good for the growth of the game because that means a hockey company is expanding and growing. But, you know, just like we talk about all the time, it's a very expensive game. And, you know, these prices are going to keep going up, and then these retailers are going to keep being these retailers. So we'll see.
Sign of the times, boys. Another big conglomerate, you know, eating up little mom and pop shops. We see it in every industry, especially now we're starting to see it in hockey and in sports as a whole, right? Sports, if you think about it, it sucks because the thing that made your communities cool was that little niche store where you knew everybody, maybe got a little bit of a favorable discount, you know, because they knew your parents, who knew your
Oh, yeah,
parents, who knew your
100%.
dad or your uncle. So that community side of it, it sucks. It's going to disappear, but it's going to start happening. The Pure Hockeys of the world are going to, I mean, they acquired the shop that was in the rink here in Arizona as well. And it's the sign of the economic times. It sucks being in business right now. You guys are feeling it and knowing it as well. The economy out there, it's very hard to be in business right now. I'm happy that they built up something that was of enough value that they could be acquired and were probably paid something very worth their time and sacrifice that they had built in this industry. I remember Piranhas.
Is there Piranhas
No.
in AZ?
I
Frankie?
used to see it in the back of the USA Hockey magazine. Do you remember? Like,
Yes. Those
You
ones
could-
you'd get weekly in the
Yeah.
mail.
you get it, and
Yeah.
the fact that the USA Hockey magazine, side note, is still being delivered to my house. Anyways, nostalgia. When the
Same.
USA Hockey magazine came, you saw Piranhas in there, and it was just. But I think it sucks that the whole editorial side of things as a whole is like gone away. Like I'm still the dude that goes to when I'm going to the airport, I still buy a magazine. Or back in the day with the Maxim magazines at the airport. I mean,
That's crazy.
You're like James Bond,
it's
just
purely
reading
for
a
research,
magazine.
You know, Maxim is just research, but I'm just saying, I was a studious fellow. I like to be curious, but it's that nostalgia factor. But you're seeing everything. I think that's also the digital world we live in. But it sucks. It sucks that these small mom and pop retailers are going by the wayside. But it's really cool that they held on and they were able to hold on. And now, hey, nice little check. Spend the rest of their time maybe looking into another venture. So Piranhas holding it down. I love it. Pure Hockey, good acquisition.
I agree. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is me putting on my nerd hat because I love entrepreneurship. I love all that. And for those of you who are not familiar of Y Combinator is the leading tech/business accelerator in the world. And they're based out of San Francisco. All of your names that you know have been through there: Stripe, DoorDash, Airbnb, a very successful group of people that have pushed through there. And now a sports tech startup, PlayVision. They're calling it the AI Moneyball for scouting, which is a sick name. I love that. But it's an AI-powered sports technology company that uses computer vision to automatically analyze, tag, and break down game footage. This is just the sign of the times, fellas. This is going to be the next level. And so they're starting out in basketball and football, but this is going to go everywhere. I mean, I could just see with, just how analytics are in hockey right now. Having something like this to track everything to the T with an AI. Everyone loves the sexy AI buzzword, but it's the truth. And everyone's going to keep implementing these things, and you're going to see this company grow. I'm almost sure of it. And it's just, I think for development for these players, it's just going to keep accelerating. That's just what goes into this. These coaches are going to see these minute details from a young age and be able to fix it like that. So it's really cool. And I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say.
First of all, shout out Moneyball, Jonah Hill, which is now
Great flick.
amazing. And this is now AI powered, which I've heard a little bit about what they're doing, and it's bizarre to me, but I think it's really cool because at the end of the day, like coaches and faculty and all that stuff, like they all care so much about stats, and stats define certain areas of your game as a player. And growing up, we always used Instat, and I don't know if anyone knows what Instat is, but it auto clicks your shifts for you, and it's just a
awful.
huge mess. But with this new AI powered, this is just going to be a game changer for not just video, but for statistics for players as a whole and teams.
Yeah, boys, I think when I first heard about this, I think the first thing I thought of was even just the acquisition of LiveBarn, right? You think of future plans of this is going to be the new implementation of cameras at every venue. Like, you remember you'd see a camera somewhere and you'd be like, oh, that's weird. There's a camera here. Every venue. And now what you're going to start to see, especially with a tool like this, multi-angle, zoom in, zoom out, everything, because of the emergence, guys, of the global scale of scouting, right? Like we talked about it. Social media has really changed the whole landscape of scouting as a whole. And I really do think that this is going to take the place, all those scouts out there, I'm sorry, but this is going to affect you as well, because you don't necessarily have to have a guy fly halfway across the world, or these poor guys. And my appreciation is to all the scouts out there, because that's a hard life.
Yes.
Okay. It's a grind. Every day, day in, day out, player evaluation, player development on all levels and all leagues. So you're toggling back and forth between these skill levels and still having a vision in your head of like this profile of a player that you want on your squad. What I think a tool like this is going to become is literally going to become filters. I want a scorer that's between 5'11" and 6 foot, has good range, a right-hander, has a rocket shot, and scored 15 to 20 goals last year, and wears a blue helmet. I'm just saying it's literally going to be filter fields that you're going to then be able to create these teams just on paper, just to even narrow down your search of potential big players that could be contributors to your organization. Where I think this really affects also, which is sad to say, is it's going to really affect those guys that were found on a scouting perspective that were on a whim. And we all know those guys, right? How did you get scouted? Well, I got seen because the scout actually was going to watch Derek, but he ended up seeing Andy, and he was watching him in this game, and he's like, this guy wasn't even on our radar. We need this guy. I think that it's really just going to affect those underdogs, and it sucks because the underdog stories is what makes sports amazing. So I could see that there's going to be a trickle down effect of that, just because of everyone's trying to get the best of the best and get them fast before anybody. So they're like, consolidate that research, get the eyes on it, and then they're like, okay, you need to fly and see this guy in person, make sure he doesn't have 3 heads, and make sure his shoe size is 15 and one's a 20, and you're good. Sign him. So there's gonna be a lot, but it's inevitable, guys. AI, I don't like AI. This and that. Listen, it isn't going anywhere.
We're used to it.
So you might as well dig in. Maybe just root around, like working with an AI program, because I can tell you right now, it's not going anywhere. It's going to be part of our society forever, and we just got to learn how to use it.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say to that, Frankie, is like, for the scouts, for everyone, you just got to learn how to take advantage of it. Just like you said, scouts who are, hockey guys who are all set in their ways, they're going to have to be effective and to be efficient in this day and age. They're going to have to utilize these AI platforms.
My beloved Toronto Maple Leafs have finally made a decision on their new GM, and it's John Chaika, formerly from the Arizona Coyotes, as well as Matt Sundin, special advisor. I wanted to talk about this because it's just this new trend we're seeing in hockey, but in all sports, right? What is the right recipe for a general manager for a club? Do you have the player? Do you have somebody more analytically driven or business minded that can make less emotional decisions? And then you have what Toronto has, Matt Sundin, right? So you have John Chaika running the day-to-day operations from a business standpoint, and then you have Matt Sundin more on the player level, player's touch, which I still feel like is very important, and keeps that relatability. But I mean, if you look at somebody like Toronto, they've kind of tried it in a lot of different ways, right? They had Kyle Dubas, which was analytically minded too, background. Brad Treliving, a little bit more of a grizzled vet and more of the player personnel side of things. And now you have kind of flipping the pendulum back, right? John Chaika runs a multi-million-dollar or even billion-dollar analytics company, and I do believe he's running a chain of Arby's restaurants, successful and fruitful. So he's coming back into the hockey world. Matt Sundin, obviously, Toronto legend. So I think that they're trying to balance the fences a little bit. If you look at the day-to-day operations, quote-unquote, harder decisions, I think Chaika is going to make those with approval and kind of smoothing out the road with the players and Matt Sundin kind of being more on the ground floor. So I don't know. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it because we're seeing it a lot in the league and a lot of organizations and a lot of teams are like, what is the right mix that's going to be successful? And there really hasn't been one way or the other that has been.
I don't mean to go too off the track here, but the Detroit Red Wings, okay? Stevie Y, I love you. I actually have your signed jersey in my room. Like I'm just 10 years as a former player, GM, and they're yet to make the playoffs with the longest active drought. So you see like some of these trends, whether it be non-former player or a player, but at the end of the day, if the players, have to believe in you, I feel like to go places. And there's times where management and players have that like fine line and you can feel the tension for some of these organizations. So as a team like Toronto, they've tried it all and they're trying to come up with a good balance here. And yeah, it's just interesting and I'll have to see what happens.
I mean, it's a question as old as time. I really kind of categorize, just like you did, Frankie. The three categories are like that player, the NHL legend, the business guy, and the analytical guy. The perfect mix for me, in my opinion, would probably end up being someone who I don't think, maybe they played a little bit of professional sports. I don't think that it should be these NHL legends or these NHL Hall of Famers. I think it's someone who has a grasp of the game and an understanding, but is also a kick-ass business person. Because I think that a lot of these decisions made at the GM role, you obviously have to understand the landscape of sports and hockey specifically. But I think if you do and you have an athletic background, but you are, and a lot of founders and a lot of entrepreneurs and CEOs are from athlete backgrounds. And if you're able to bring in someone that you just kind of give them an offer they can't refuse to be, with their hometown team and they're a great business person, a CEO of a Fortune 5 or something like that. And those are people that I think could really drive impact in the NHL and across all sports. They're so savvy in their specific fields, but I think applying it to the same business principles that are in hockey, that are in all of these sports, you can have success. And it's just so crazy. We talked about it. I don't mean to be disrespectful in any means, but it's a lot of recyclement in hockey. All of these people are whether they're a former player, whether they're a former coach, I'd like to see some more business people coming in and kicking in the door to try and lead these teams to the promised land.
And I think, guys, the same argument can be made for coaching, right? There's a coach, and you've seen successful coaches that have been players, but you've also seen successful coaches that maybe weren't the best players, but they just had that great motivating factor to help clubs be successful, right? And you've seen amazing stories of it, and you've also seen stories that didn't work out just as well. So it's a tough decision, especially as a player, because you're programmed a certain way and you take control of a club. It's very hard, and I commend the coaches that can do it very well, to take away the emotional side of it and actually concentrate on the task at hand and kind of say, nope, I'm looking at it. I know how this player feels right now, but I need to really go in with the voice of, I know what he needs right now. And I think it's the same thing in management. And I feel like those Bakes, you brought it up, Steve Yzerman, right? Accomplished player. Do you think he doesn't have a ton of pressure on himself? And he's been successful in the NHL. I mean, he built pretty much the prototype of that Tampa Bay team that ended up building a mini dynasty. He left a little bit before they kind of went on their run, but that's all Stevie Y's work, and it takes a while to kind of build it. Detroit, again, I think taking on that job, he knew the scrutiny that goes along with that, especially because he had so much success as a player. So I take a lot of appreciation for him for even taking that job. What's happening right now? The eyes are playing this and that. They're mocking him, but I'm like, it takes a while. It takes also a management group and an ownership group that takes the time to actually give them a longer leash to say, hey, look, you have a little bit of room here for success, but yeah, there comes a time where you're like, all right, man, this isn't working. We got to pull the plug.
Detroit fans, hang in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have an amazing interview this week. Kurtis Gabriel, former NHL heavyweight turned influencer, creator, and true community leader for the game of hockey. And I was really, really happy to have him on because he was able to share that emotional journey, not only just his sports journey, but the emotional journey. And we talk about it in the interview. Somebody that's a fighter in the NHL, they carry an additional weight on them. And that job description carries a lot with it. Not only the fact that you're looking to pound somebody and get pounded in the face, but it's also everything else that goes along with that reputation. Kurtis is a very knowledgeable person. And it was an honor to have him on to just reflect, but also talk about his current life and his future goals and his missions. And we were so honored to have him.
I mean, to fangirl for a second here, I would watch Curtis's fights all the time when I played. I mean, he was just absolutely awesome. And, it's just a really full circle moment for, myself and the platform to be able to talk with him about all the awesome things that he's doing and all the awesome things that he's done. I'm so happy that we're able to call him a friend and a brother and a family to the show now. We know that you're going to enjoy this conversation because we did. And it's just the first chapter of many.
We can't thank Curtis enough for coming on, and it was so nice to get to hear his story. And I don't want to spoil it too much for this interview, but he had something, pretty traumatic happen to him when he was younger, and he kind of told us, how that shaped him into the person he is today and what he does now, and how he's shedding so much light and positivity onto his platform, and to be able to come on ours and get that deep with us. It was just amazing.
Without further ado, LRL family, Kurtis Gabriel, enjoy. The Stanley Cup playoffs are here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the NHL, has a new customer offer.
Bet player props, bet live. From the opening faceoff to the final horn, every moment matters. New DraftKings customers bet just $5 and you'll get $100 in bonus bets instantly.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN so you're ready for the moment. That's code THPN. Turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Locker Room Live podcast. We are so honored to have our next guest today, Kurtis Gabriel, a player, but also an amazing human that's making great change in this lovely hockey community that we're all a part of. And we can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Namaste, fellas. Thank you so much for having me. Definitely looked into what you guys are all about, and this feels very aligned, especially having Brady Leavold and another guy, I don't know if you've released that yet, on recently, who I just went on his podcast right before this. So you guys are my guys.
We're all one big family, man. And to start it off, I believe, especially with you, there's a couple chapters to everybody's story. And, we want to start off with the hockey part. Take us through the journey.
There's chapters, brothers. Let me tell you, I'm writing a book. It's up to like 37 or 38. Like that's just the first three decades of my life. And we all have lived so many different timelines and lifetimes. But yeah, man, my origin story starts in Newmarket, Ontario, 45 minutes north of Toronto, the last stop on the highway most of my life. They've extended it now, but you bleed blue with the Leafs and you watch Darcy Tucker growing up and Ty Domi and Matt Sundin, the passion. Early 2000 years of hockey, Hurricanes winning the Cup, Rob Brindamore, like that was my whole upbringing. Rock'em Sock'em, Don Cherry. It was awesome, man. To be a kid that loves hockey. My parents played every other sport, it seemed like, other than hockey, and they were so loving that they let me follow my passion into it. I always say that if I grew up in like Louisiana, I would have been a football or baseball player. Like that would have been the coolest thing, to be the quarterback, be the pitcher. I would have done that. But the coolest thing up here was hockey. It was the most competitive. It was the coolest. The girls liked it. I was all in, dude.
Please take us through your career. I mean, there's just so many things, playing for Owen Sound through juniors and then, transitioning to the big leagues.
Yeah. So playing all different sports. I was playing single A, double A. I did, like House League 5, House League 6 years old, then select at 7, then 8 single A, 9 single A again, I think. And my dad's like, you're not making New York Simcoe Express AAA. They're too good. They were stacked every year. And he's like, we're going to go to Richmond Hill and you're good enough for AAA. And I'm like, really? You sure about that? And he's like, yep, let's go. I'm like, okay, Dad, do you believe in me? I went out there, made that AAA team, couldn't believe it. I'm like 10 years old. I'm on track, I'm going to become a hockey player. 10 years old, 2 weeks later after making that team, my dad takes his own life. So that changed everything. If that didn't happen, this is a completely different story. I don't even think I'm ever talking to you guys if that didn't happen, to be completely honest with you, because that is what put the fire in me, the fire to prove myself. And when you combine that with what I didn't know was a neurodivergent kid and very sensitive, I just put on the blinders at 16. After growing up playing single A, double A, I just put on those blinders, and my mom said, "Hey, you want to go try out?" And I'm like, "I guess I'll try out for the junior A team just for fun. Like, I'm about to retire from hockey." But when I got there, everything just lined up. It was like everything in life just lined up. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it without my dad. He's the one that got me into AAA at 10. He left. I'm doing this with mom and on my own now. And I just went from a double A player sitting on my bed thinking about retiring from hockey to the next year skipping over junior A, making the Hurricanes, but going right to the OHL off a random scouting moment at a junior C skate. Absolutely insane for a year and a half to be now in the top league in the world in my age group as a free agent walk-on. To say that was a culture shock. Most kids are groomed to be high-end players, and I'm just dropped into the Shark Tank of hockey culture in Owen Sound, the smallest CHL market. It was a lot, boys.
Brother, first of all, sorry for your loss. And that is such a crazy and unique jump right away. And I just kind of talk a little bit about when you knew you could play that enforcer role.
So 16, when I went out to that first skate, they're like, okay, we can't take a double A player from double A to junior A. Like, it's just not going to happen. Go play major midget in Markham for a year. And I was like, okay, I already decided in my head, this is what I'm doing. In my head, I'm already playing the NHL. Even though it made no sense, there was this just feeling in my chest. Like, I just knew. Okay. So when you know, it just has to be now manifested into physical reality. So I get to AAA. And I have the jersey over right behind here, Markham Waxers. And the coach, Gord Fournier, one day after practice, just goes, "Kid, I know you're trying out for junior A teams. You're thinking about the Hurricanes, Stolen Spirit, whatever." He's like, "You're not going to make it scoring goals or skating circles around anybody. You're going to have to hit people. And if you hit people like I know you're going to hit them, you're going to have to fight." And I went, "Sign me the fuck up. Let's go." I was like, "I'm in. I don't care." I'd been in one fight at that point at a junior A skate, which I just told on another podcast, the No But Seriously Though podcast, about fighting this kid that I always kind of grinded with growing up playing against. But that was an organic fight. But after that, every fight wasn't organic anymore. That's my ticket to go somewhere. But I did not know what I was signing up for.
I want you to talk about, at such a young age, that role. It's such a fight or flight mode, and it's just a different mindset. And I know you're a huge advocate now about just speaking about that mental mindset of carrying that role. And you had that at a young age. So walk us through that emotional stress. It really is, because if you look at it and you look at everybody who carried that role, it's a heavy emotional burden, because it's your way that you're going to live in this world, right? You're going to be living in this hockey world, carrying this role. You get defined by that role. You carry that all through it. And I want you to talk about that, when that became, this isn't really hockey anymore. I'm carrying this stress, and it's almost this false sense of who we are. We don't really know who we are anymore. And I want you to kind of discuss a little bit through that pathway of the mental side of when you started carrying this, because a lot of people do not know the stress and the emotional just heaviness that gets held on with this.
Yeah, man, this is a huge part of my book and my story. So thank you for the opportunity. And it's weird, right? I was the teacher's son growing up. Never been in a fight to this day off the ice, a real fist fight. The great perfect behavior on report cards, had to, or I didn't get to play hockey. So I started doing it. And in the beginning, right, when it's organic, it's fun because it's just part of the game. But then I get scouted to go to Owen Sound, and I'm at the tryouts, and I hear Joey Hishin, who's the best player on the team that year, first round pick of Colorado, come off mother effing somebody, screwing us. Like, this guy's coming after me. And I went, bingo, that's my opportunity. So I went out and this kid barely did anything. And I basically forced him to fight me. I didn't beat him up bad, but I, won the fight, and that put me on the radar. And I'm like, okay, so that one, I can handle that. But the next day, Jason Wilson, New York Rangers draft pick, 6'2", 220. I saw the guy for the first time in the gym 2 days before, curling a 45-pound bar and 45-pound plates, 135 pounds with his shirt off, chest hair, just enormous. And I'm a giraffe, baby giraffe without hair on my body. And I'm like, oh God. And he goes after Jamel Smith, another guy who played in the NHL, rookie at the time. And Smitty's a little fiery bugger, so he stands up to him. But then Wilson looks like he's about to just take him out. So I put myself between them. And the whole time I'm standing there in between them, looking at him, outwardly it's looking like, I'll go you. Inside, I'm like, please don't drop your gloves. Please don't drop your gloves. Please don't drop your gloves. He skates away laughing. And I'm like, oh, so that's where it starts to happen. And that first year, I didn't know I made the best team in the league. We won the OHL championship. first time ever for that organization, and the team was stacked. So I barely played, but the games I did get in, I was just, I mean, at the other junior ace fights, there was like 20 people, 30 people in the stands, 50 people. Now you're talking about thousands of people watching. I have a visor, not a cage. I felt so exposed. I had all this new OHL equipment on. Felt like I was wearing a suit of armor. What am I doing? I was so scared to fight in front of all these faces. So I didn't really fight that year. Tom Wilson jumped me, which is it was a very interesting story in my book. Kyle Flemington, this heavyweight 6'7" guy in London, jumps me, and that's all the fighting I do that year. But the coaches go, at the end of the year, you're like, it's kind of getting your feet wet, but you're gonna have to get meaner, aka fight people. So I'm like, I knew that. So I come back next year. They put in a 10-fight rule. I get all my 10 fights, but I get beat up every time. I trained with a guy, Mike Marson. I learned a little bit. He had trained Stamkos and Nash. He did this like karate stuff. It didn't help at all. So I just get beat up my second year. So then I'm like, holy crap. And I had to go back and I had to dig in, and I changed it, went to an MMA gym. And that's where I started to get the confidence. I started to go from a kid just surviving to like, I'm like a weapon. I can damage somebody now. I'm 6'4", 215. And that year I led the league with 14 fights with a 10-fight rule, fought really huge guys, Tyler Biggs, Brohl, Branson, all these bigger guys. And that's when I finally was like, okay, I can do this. But the stress was always building. Like, I'm going to have to fight real men one day.
And perfect segue into it. I assume that stress just elevates as you get to those bigger levels, and it just becomes bigger on the bigger stages. And I want you to talk about, going to those, grown men who are, you're still a young kid trying to plant yourself in the league and have respect for yourself. And it's crazy, Curtis.
If my dad had stuck around, I don't think I ever would have done this role. I think he would have implored me to like work on my game, play OJHL, get a scholarship, get a degree. Then he'd be like, I could sign pro and start fighting, but do you want to do that? Do you want to just go work or try it out? Whatever. I think it would have gone like that. But with this kind of fire and this white hot rage pushing me, I turned pro at 21. And I'm in Iowa. My first year, I line up next to Trevor Gillies. If everybody doesn't know who that is, look that guy up, okay? Handlebar mustache, 6'3", 230, grizzled veteran, lefty. And he lines up me in Adirondack, Glen Falls, New York. And I'm just like, oh, God, I feel him gliding in. He's like, you ready for this? And I'm like, honestly, sir, no. I get it straight up. Like, I'm not ready for the big boys. Because guess who was on his wing? Brian McGrattan, who just got sent down by Calgary. He was so grumpy. I talk to him all the time. Homeless games I go to, he tells us stories like, I was so grumpy. That shift, the play happens. McGrattan leaves his wing and buries me from behind into the wall of my wing. I would usually get up with my gloves off, but I just get up and skate right to the bench. I just wanted no smoke. So that first year I fought maybe 13 times, I think, or 13, 15 times, did against the lighter heavyweight guys. But then I knew the next year, like I have no choice. This is what I signed up for. So I got to come back in my second year. I'm fighting Brett Gallant, who to me is the toughest guy of all time, pound for pound, regardless of size. I have a great fight with Maggio. I'm fighting big boys, but then I get my call to the NHL and we're playing the Winnipeg Jets and they got Chris Thorburn and Anthony Peluso. I mean, one's a lot tougher than the other, but both of them in the first game. And that was my first two fights. I played Winnipeg both first games, Thorburn the first game, Peluso the second game. And now I'm fighting guys like Peluso who really never loses fights and use my head as a piñata. So it's funny how the stress is there, but when you're living the dream that you feel like makes you worthy of being a human, like I'm good enough that my dad should have stuck around. You should have been here to watch this. You basically, it's so nice. I was drooling to fight guys, but when it would swing the other way, when things weren't going well, brothers, you want to talk about then, that was when fighting was hard.
Man, you just mentioned so many crazy guys you fought, and I've had the opportunity to watch multiple fights of your hockeyfights.com. But at the NHL level, you fought guys like Ryan Reeves, Milan Lucic, Mike Pizzetta. More on the adrenaline side, what's it like going into these games knowing that you're going to have to fight for your team whether you want to or not?
That's the extremes of it, right? Like when I'm feeling good, when I was buzzing, when I felt worthy, when I felt like I was included on the team, like especially when I fought Lucic in Jersey, I'd been told I'm staying the rest of the year. I'm past the roster freeze. I have no risk of going down. Dude, I was sleeping like 4 hours a night. I'd bounce out of bed. I'd be at the rink at 6 a.m. The Devils had like a key code, passcode. I could go in and stick handle and shoot pucks for 2 hours before anybody got to the rink. Like I had endless energy. I'm living my dream, man. But when it swung the other way and I'm miserable and I have to fight guys with hands stitched together, concussions, whatever it is, that's when it got really hard. But so it's funny to talk about. I can talk about it from both ways. When I fight Lucic, I'm going into that game and I'm like, hell yeah, I'm fighting him. He's on the fourth line. He's my hero. I've always said I wanted to fight him. I never could fight him in the other games I've played because he's on the first or second line, but he was struggling in Edmonton, right? So I'm like, here's my chance. And then you hear through the trainers, the coaches are saying Gabe's is too scared to fight Lucic. And I'm like, let's go. First shift. I'm like, look at Luch. Luch looks at me. He's like, who the hell is this kid? I'm like, we're going. He's like, he doesn't even look at me. We have 3 quick face-offs. Every face-off, that first shift, I keep asking. I'm like, wow, I'm getting a lot of opportunities. He's not taking me seriously. We finally go down the ice and the puck gets into their goalie. And I just grab onto his collar and just say, I'm not asking again. Like, let's go. And he just sheds and we're going. And that was a blast. I loved it. But other times when you're fighting in your hand stitch together and you're like, you might get sent down and you're fighting for your life. And it's a whole different ballgame of I could either be vibrating really high in energy and not be sleeping, feeling good, or not be sleeping, freaking out because I have to fight. It was just chaos. It was a roller coaster of up and down.
And that's what I want you to kind of get further into, Curtis, because imposter syndrome, right? Riding the highs and the lows of everybody on the team being like, yeah, but inside, you're sometimes dying. A lot of people don't really know the struggles that people are fighting with on the inside because we see especially the glorified part of hockey and pro sports. So I kind of want you to dive into that side of it because you must have been dying at times inside. And how were you navigating through those feelings and being able to, was it just the thoughts of the ups that got you through the downs? Because that's something that I think a lot of people do not know.
And that's what I'll be careful too, because that's what I really want people to like read first time for some things in my book. But there's definitely times, man, where one season, I won't specify which one, but like it was by far the worst one of my life. And I was doing so many things away from the rink to cope that, weren't Brady, like me and Brady are tight. He went through like the hard drugs. I went through like the common man things. I didn't go the hard drug ways. I had the problems with women, with myself, with like weed edibles and food. Like I just drowned myself in the way that made sense to me and my pain, whereas Brady did it his way. Realizing at one point in my career that I probably would never have done this role if my dad didn't die. And realizing that, having the maturity and the awareness that starts growing. And then you go, wait a second. So like I love hockey, but I also got here on this fire. Take away that fire now. I love hockey, but I loved like Rob Brindamore, Darcy Tucker, like playing hard. I didn't want to be Ty Domi. I loved like, great, it's awesome. But that I didn't want to do. Nobody grows up wanting to be that. Ty Domi didn't grow up wanting to be that. But I'm being that. And I'm also undersized, not that strong, not that great of a player. So now I'm just got to fight these monsters. It's like the ringing the dinner bell every game. And I got to go answer and be fed to this next 240-pound dude. I never took steroids. I never did anything that. I don't know if these guys are on these things. It was harrowing, man, because you're kind of like at this place of like, I love this and I'm a kid that loves it. I'm looking where I am and I should be so grateful. But guys are looking at me like I have 3 heads. Like I would never do the job you do, Gabe. Like you feel that energy from teammates. I would never do that. You're freaking crazy. And you're kind of like, yeah, I guess I am. And you're like, what's happening? It's very confusing.
Curtis, you've been so impactful throughout your hockey journey to the game of hockey. I want to talk about how important mental health is, not only for people who are enforcers, people who are goal scorers and they're having a slump. I just want to hear your view on that, and especially in the game of hockey.
It's changed a lot. I tried all those things. I mean, I tried to manage with psychotherapists, sports psychologists, psychiatrists. I tried medication. I tried so many things throughout my career and then post-career in my suffering. But all those things help me cope. I call them like the 7 pillars of mental health. Everybody might need to touch into these at some point. You got therapy, medication, sleep, community, nutrition, and movement. But number 7, nobody wants to go there. Nobody wants to do that. It's too woo-woo. It's too strange. And it's honestly by far the hardest. And that's mindfulness. So to me, true mental health is when you start going into yourself and not being told what your path is and discovering it firsthand. And that's what my big message is. And that's what changed everything for me. You can do all the other ones, and I'm not discounting all the other ones. They help me stay in the fight. Like my Fight Plan podcast is called. It stayed in the fight. It kept me going. But true mental health has to go beyond science-y therapy stuff. It has to be you having an internal change of like, I'm going to change my life for the better. It doesn't change until you change. You can have, how many times you've seen in life, you can help someone, you can lead them to water, but you can't make them drink it. You can't force anybody to do anything, especially if people told me what to do, therapists, all these stuff. I hated that. I didn't want to tell me what to do. Their job was supposed to reflect to me my own self and to see where I'm not living my ideals or my values and mirror those to me. So to me, that's where it really changed. True mental health is, you can do the psychotherapy and all that kind of stuff. To me, it's a dog chase and it's a tail. Like you can get that tail, but are you going anywhere? You're just spinning. And that's what I did for a long time. So for me, mental health nowadays, for anybody, not just hockey players, anybody, it has to go beyond traditional scientific things. You have to look into yourself through meditation, through whatever speaks to you. That's what mental health is to me now.
That's so well said. And you took a stance during your time in the NHL for the hockey community when not a lot of players were doing so. And it was when you were the first player to wear pride tape in a game. And it's an amazing story. And you actually scored in that game. So just wanted to talk about the process of that and what that meant to you.
It's funny how life works, man. We all can look back in hindsight, right? Like Steve Jobs said, you can connect the dots looking backwards. You can't connect them looking forwards, but you can connect them looking backwards. You can look back and go, man, the hardest times in my life or the strangest things, they always just worked out for the better, even though it sucked at the time. And when I got put into junior hockey as this little goody two-shoes mama's boy, and I get put into the hockey culture, the sexual nature of it, the partying, all that stuff, and that started to change me. You get to pro. Now I'm living in Iowa. And I'm like, where the hell am I? This place is flat. All they care about is eating bacon and Christianity and football and wrestling. It's like a strange new world. And they're so opinionated on LGBTQ and racism. And it was just like a lot. And it started to kind of crack this fishbowl I was in, right? Of just like the boys in hockey. And you say that's so gay and use slurs. And it's like, oh, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I just like to play hockey. And it's like, that's not good enough, right? Like it's ignorance. And that started to chip away at me. And I started to get more awareness as I got out of this hockey bubble a bit. And dating my first partner, she had friends who one of them had came out to first relationship ever, had came out and started dating another girl. And her family had 2 doctors as parents, and they unfinancially supported her, like on the spot, finding that out. And it just like blew my mind. Like she had to move in with a new girlfriend, work 2 jobs to pay for her school now. Like I was just like, is this necessary? My mom would never give a shit who I dated. And it just blew my mind. I had never been exposed to anything like that, right? And it's funny enough, next season, I'm playing in Jersey. I just happened to be up for the Pride game, happened to be playing the best hockey of my life at the time. And, they come in before the game. Remember Pete Albeets? He's like the team coordinator. He's like, hey guys, you can put on the tape. You don't have to put on tape. You can take it off the game, whatever. So I put it on the shaft of my stick because I'm trying to stay in the show. I scored like a couple games before my first goal. I'm trying to keep everything going. I don't want to change too much. So I'm not going to put on my blade in my stick and put it on the shaft right below my grip. So I come in after warm up and they're just like, all the guys are taking it off. And I look at my stick and this quick of a decision. I was like, it would take me more time to take that off and leave it on. And maybe my ex-girlfriend's friends at the time would care. They would feel supported. Didn't think again about it. Went and played my best game. Like you said, scored the game winner against Montreal Canadiens, Carey Price, like highlight of my career at the time. But I get to my phone after and it's blowing up way more about the tape than the goal. And then I was like, geez, like I had no idea this is such a big deal. So I was very not prepared. I'd never spoken to such a confident gay man. Brock McGillis, first openly gay professional hockey player, calls me and he's just like, hey, so why'd you do that? And I told him, because I felt like I wanted to support my friends. I'm so fragile in my straightness. I'm such a weak I'm a hockey dude. I just like girls. Like I was just so uncomfortable. But over time, I started to immerse myself in it, reading articles, educating. And then the next time I spoke to him was because I had 2 teammates who were having like a debate if they could shower with a gay teammate who was out. And I'm like, hey, we got to talk to Brock about this. So he was like, oh, you actually can talk to me now without like shaking. I'm like, yeah. And we became friends. And that's how this happens. Like for you guys, when you first podcasted, it probably was uncomfortable as hell. When you started your brand, when you started your brand Logan, when you started playing D1, and it's like, this is hard. It's uncomfortable. But what did you do? You wanted to make a difference. You wanted to change. You wanted to work through it. So what you push through it. It's the same thing for this.
And that's so well said. And especially Curtis, as you know, the younger generation, right? It's such a different landscape out there now, especially with the emergence of social media. I think there's a lot of positives, but there's also a lot of negatives. There's a lot of added pressure, especially for these poor kids coming up on all levels. We also choose the information to absorb and that to discard. But what is your assessment and also the biggest thing too for the next generation, like advice wise, how to navigate through, especially a player that's coming up these days?
It used to be for me, what I was raised in was just push harder. The David Goggins mentality. His book, when it came out, when I was really struggling in my time in bingo in the AHL Jersey, that really helped me at the time because that's how I resonated with this push through the pain. Be able to look in the mirror and know that I pushed through the pain, like just this grind hustle culture mentality. And it's like, if you don't know who you are doing that, it's just a ticking time bomb. Like you're just going to blow up at some point. And I did. So the number one thing is I say to anybody, regardless of what you want to do, but if we're talking hockey, somebody comes up to me, hey, how do I make the NHL? Somebody asks me, how do I help my daughter make the PWHL? Whatever it is, I go, okay, can we first define what we're trying to do here? Why is your daughter or you trying to make it anywhere? Why do they play hockey? And I go, because it's fun. It's awesome. It's a great game. It's like, okay, go deeper. Well, I like playing with my friends. Okay, go deeper. Well, when I have a great game, it's just like the best feeling. Okay, what is that feeling? What was that game like? Like, oh, I disappeared out there. I just melted into the game, like the zone, whatever it's called. Like I just like time stopped. And I'm like, there it is. So are you playing hockey because you like hockey or you like the feeling it gives you? And they're like, I played because I thought hockey gave me the conditions to be happy. That if I was a good hockey player, I was a good human. When I wasn't a good hockey player, I wasn't a good person. I struggled. I wasn't good enough. We all are scared that we're not good enough. So what I would say to you is reverse engineer that feeling. Realize that that zone you're looking for isn't found only in the best possible game. It's with you all the time. Hockey just revealed it to you. It fit your ego to be like, this is what I want to do with my life. So when it goes well, I feel good. Oh, I'm happy. It's like, no, reverse engineer that. Find yourself first. You can do that doing anything on any journey, and life brings you the opportunities to grow. So there's a reason why in all the different ancient cultures and everything, it's know thyself first, then go and express it. If you're meant to play hockey, go play hockey. If you're meant to go to school, go to school. If you're meant to do whatever, do whatever. Just know yourself first, because if you get anywhere without knowing yourself, it's not going to go well. I promise you that, which is part of your journey and it was part of mine. But if people want to know, that would be the advice. That would be the advice to my younger self.
It's amazing, Curtis. And, I want to talk about your journey with spirituality after the game of hockey and what you're doing now and really finding yourself, like you just mentioned there.
So that's the part that I'm being smart about. If this room was geared up for just spirituality, it definitely wouldn't look like this. It would be a bunch of plants, it'd be brown, it'd be green, it'd be Zen. But I'm leaning into this part of the story for the people because I was the most opinionated against anything woo, spiritual, churchy, religion. I hated it all. I hated it because I was so scared. I was so scared of not knowing what this life was. What's going to happen when I die? I was telling everybody, you're a coward if you can't handle it. You just rot in the ground, the worms eat you, and you aren't there anymore, just like before you're born. You're just black. That's what I tell everybody. Somebody won the Super Bowl, say, oh, glory to God. I'd be like, what a loser. Like, I was that bad. So that's why I struggled so long. I saw the hypocrisy of people in religion and all these places that said one thing and did another. I'm like, this is a joke. I'm going to believe in the hockey gods. I'm going to work my ass off. I'm going to get what I deserve. And when I didn't get that anymore, and when life started going away, I didn't think it should go. And I felt like the hockey gods abandoned me. I retired through traumatic injury with my wrist. I just imploded, man. Like, who the hell am I? Why am I? I'm the guy who was going to play till I was 40. I would have played in like some lower league in Czech till I was done to drag me off the ice. That's what I thought I was going to do, right? I'm 29, and this tiny part of my body takes me out of playing. The hell am I doing? Who the hell am I? And it just caved in on me. So fortunately for a lot of us, it takes suffering to wake us up to these things. It did for me. I'll just say, like, I tried all those different things, psychiatry, medication, all these things. I tried everything and nothing worked and nothing changed until I decided that, as Tony Robbins says, change happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the work you have to do to change. I was willing to do the work because where I wasn't going to be here anymore. I was never going to take my life like my dad because he had did that and I'd seen what that done to people. Wouldn't lower myself to that in a way, but I was just like, all right, if I'm going to be here, it's going to suck. Might as well make some meaning out of it. And when I made that decision, when I got over the fact that maybe there's things I don't understand yet, or I can't see, or it seems weird, I just said, I don't care. I'm going that way. And when I made that decision, just like anybody out there wants to make a decision to go to school or play hockey, you make that decision. And I started working towards it. So for me, it doesn't have to be any spirituality book, any sect, any religion. It just needs to be you sitting down and meditating. And from there, you do that every morning. Like every morning, that's when everything changed for me. I started, I stopped, I journaled, did all stuff. When I started meditating every day at the same time when I woke up, no matter if I was tired, sick, pissed off, depressed, happy, showed up every day, that's when things started to change for me and the path really started to unravel. And that's what allows me to be sitting here years later, living my best life.
That's such a great point. It's not talked about enough. Someone who plays hockey their entire career and it comes to an end at some point, and a lot of them have an identity crisis. So it's kind of figuring out what you want to do next, like you touched on. But for the viewers out there, what are you up to now? I know you said you're writing a book, but you have the Fight Plan podcast up and running, and it's just awesome to see.
Thanks, brother. Yeah. I was the guy that was like, burn the boats. Plan A, no plan B. I'm crossing the ocean. I'm making it. No going back, right? That's not what I would recommend, kids. My dad certainly wouldn't if he was around. There's proven studies that if you have an outside passion, you have your main thing, hockey, great. Have another passion that pulls you. We all have other interests. Work at that. Takes your mind away from the game. People think that takes away from your ability to play. It's like, no, it actually frees you up to play with less stress because you have other interests. You're not putting everything in one basket. I would really highly recommend people doing that. So for me now, what the game and my suffering and my pain led me to is now just wanting to create the conditions where a younger me could have figured this out sooner. And my path's not like everybody else's, but I've learned from so many other people sharing and being vulnerable about their path. Now I just want to let that flow through me and my story to the folks that want to hear it. The young Curtis at 16, who, when I figured out I was going to play in the NHL, what I got to do? I got to work out, lift weights. I got to get a skills coach, and I got to eat, sleep, and breathe hockey, think about nothing else. Got it. Check, check, check. But I missed this part. And if somebody like me, a former NHL guy, came to me and said, "Kid, all that's great. That'll help you get there. But just sit on your bed every morning and watch your breath." I would have been like, "Why?" And he'd just be like, "Kid, you don't have to know why. Just do it and don't stop." I would have been like, done. That's how all in I was. And if I had done that, I would be sitting here talking to you. I'd still be playing. There's no doubt about it. So everything is built off that now. So the podcast is a fight plan podcast to talk about fights on the ice and sports, but more so the fights we undertake in life, like I did. That leads to the book, to give the origin story in a big 400-page memoir, the deep dive, the most vulnerable raw hockey book I think will be ever written. And then a course for athletes, first responders, firefighters, whatever, the average Joe who just feels like they don't know who they are in this crazy world with all the things that are happening. Who am I? What makes me happy? It's a course for that person, for my younger self, that if I did that, I would have had everything I needed to do the things I wanted to in life. And when I got there, to actually enjoy them.
We have the same goal, brother. That's awesome.
That's the same goal for you, brother?
Yeah, it's the same goal for this platform. Like from the beginning is, kids at 16, me and Frank, we want to build the platform that we would get benefit from and really find value in. And it's just so beautiful.
You hear that, kids? Like everybody out there, my good buddy too, we just had him on the podcast yesterday, and he's just like, everything changed for him. He was thinking about taking his own life, unsubscribing from life. And he's just like, when I made a commitment, he's like, you know what? I can always do that, but let me try to help one person and let's just see how that goes. If I can help people, they'll stick around. I don't need to check out. And he's built an amazing life as a mental health coach now. And he's building the course with me and hosting the podcast with me. It's like everything starts when you're on your last moment and you're just like, screw it. Let me just make life easier for one other person. It will blow you away how it makes your life better. When we tap into that, it's not this toxic male culture anymore. Even women are living, I have to hustle and get somewhere in the world. Just put others first, serve others. Watch how that makes you raise yourself, because it's not about you anymore. The reason we all suffer and struggle mentally is because we think it's all about us, man. I thought it was all about me.
And the biggest thing, Curtis, also, and you can attest to this, is you touched on it, is like that fear, right? The fear of judgment. I think that's the biggest thing, especially just doing this. You alluded to it before. When we first started recording, we sucked. We definitely did. But you know what? When we stopped thinking about what people were going to think about it, it did leaps and bounds for me. It did leaps and bounds for me, because I live my life, and it's the way that we're all programmed, and systematically we're all programmed the same way, to form to what people think the judgment will like reflect best. And it's human nature to do. But doing this and being able to just be comfortable into really what's in our minds and really be who we really are. And that's a huge part of why Logan and I started this, was just, it's been therapeutic for myself, being able to, there was a lot of baggage, man, that I carried for a lot of years. Once you get over that, it's such a freeing feeling of just, and you can't ever explain it. And you know this because you can tell by you're free, man. You've freed yourself from the judgments, the feeling within yourself. You can tell people who are comfortable, and I know this is a statement everybody says, "Oh, comfortable in their own skin," but man, when you're comfortable in your own skin, you can tell somebody who's comfortable in your own skin. And there's that envy. You're like, that's what makes me sad about society, is this person is not comfortable in their own skin. And it pains me, because this is even something as small as this, and we started this a year ago. I'm leaps and bounds to truly honest say that I am comfortable in my own skin. And I would always say it, and you're like, yeah, man, I'm comfortable in my own skin. It was a lie. I could say that right here and now. Like, it was a lie. I am more comfortable in my own skin today than I have ever been. And a lot of it is because getting away from what people were thinking and the judgments of everything, but then more importantly, coming together with this amazing community and being honest about conversations and being honest about ourselves and being honest about who we want to be. That's a big thing, right? Like, people are scared to say who they want to be because you're like, oh, what are people going to think? I commend you so much, because I look at you and your energy, and like, even through the phone, even through the text messages, even through things, it's like you have found that place. And to me, I am so happy for you. And it's what we want to align with on this podcast, this platform. And I don't know, man, there's just nothing else. I couldn't wait, and we couldn't wait to have you on, because I just wanted to tell you that.
Dude, clip it. Post it. Let's go. That's it right there, brother. You said it, man. You said it, dude. It's breaking free from the cringe prison, man. People comment all this crazy stuff on my posts and send me DMs, and it's like, namaste, brother. I hope you're having the best day. And they're like, what? I just chirped you. Why are you saying we're one and shit? I'm like,
Yeah.
I love you, bro. I love you. And they're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, we're not in competition. There's nothing to fight here. There's enough for everyone. I can have a podcast and a big book and a big thing, and you can do whatever you want to do, and I'm going to cheer for it. Like, what are we fighting over? Why is there war? What is going on in this world? You learn through going in on yourself. And like you said, you weren't as comfortable in your skin before you started this podcast. How'd you get there? You had to walk the path. You can't see the 2 steps ahead. The only thing you can see, sometimes you can't even see the 1 step ahead. Like, think about it, you're in this like big open empty space, and there's these pillars that come up, and you're standing on one. Everybody out here is like scared shitless standing on this pillar in the dark, and they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm not good enough. What's going to happen? Sometimes you may see a half step here, a half step, another pillar might pop up, but until you take the step, that thing doesn't come up under your foot. And then you're on that one. And then you can't see the next step. You take another step. It pops up under your foot. You have to walk the path, because the only way to walk the path and see it is to get on it. It appears as you walk it. And that's integration. That's living. Livin. Matthew McConaughey. That's living. It's like being life, not just participating and trying to get something out of it. So that was a beautiful share, man. And the energy does not lie.
I'll say something real quick, Curtis. We have a funny little joke that we like to talk about on the podcast. I like Chinese food a lot, and I got a fortune cookie yesterday that literally said, your reward is the walk, not the destination. And it's just so crazy that you mentioned that to wrap up. Just such a great interview. I got emotional when you were talking, Frankie, because it's just such a raw feeling. I mean,
Truth.
I was, 2 years out from just quitting my hockey career completely, and definitely a lot of love that was lost. And Frankie was one of those people that helped me instill back the love that I knew was there since I was 3 years old. And it's just been beautiful, and just so beautiful to have you on too.
Dude, beautiful share. Owen, what do you got for us? Give us some love too. What do you got going on, man?
So I actually knew Logan since I was 15 years old. Funny enough, how the hockey world works, he ended up in a rural town of Howell, Michigan. He was building with his coach. We were playing AAA against each other and stayed best friends ever since. We talk every day, and he had me on this podcast not too long ago when they were just up and running. And I met Frankie through that, and it's just been amazing. Just being able to talk to so many amazing people in the hockey community, and just not only being a player, but just shedding light on the next generation, everyone listening. So it's been amazing having you on. And I just want to ask, you just did it all and you had such an amazing career, but what was your most memorable hockey moment?
That second goal in Jersey. On that night, I had the pride tape on my stick. The first goal was this fluky goal where Anders Nielsen, 6'7" out. Frankie's a goalie. I shot the puck off the wall 6 feet wide, and he went to try to catch it and be cool and like hold it, and it trickled down his arm into the net. And I was like, oh, that's okay. So this goal was I just felt it coming, and you just know something's going to happen, and you just get to watch it unfold. Like everything stopped. And it's like, you want to talk about the zone, so just seeing it all unfold and doing exactly what I'm supposed to do in the forecheck and creating a turnover, beating my guy to the net, Victor Mete, Shea Weber comes in. I tip the puck to myself. I have all the time in the world to see him about to score, and I put it in, and then the room to celebrate, like how you've always how you pictured celebrating an NHL goal. That moment, I got to do that. Like, I got to pull my arms up, lift my leg up, and just go, yeah, like so hard, and look right into a camera cutout of Rich Gracel taking the photo of me just screaming into the camera and getting to jump into the glass. Like, every cell of my body erupted in happiness.
These are the interviews why we do this, man. It's just, that's all I can say. This is literally,
you can feel it, right? You can feel the
Absolutely.
truth. Like when Frankie spoke, when you spoke, when we spoke, you can feel the truth when people are sharing vulnerability, and it hits all of us the same, but also in our own way. Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, we're all connected, and I think if there's one thing that we're always thankful for is that this wonderful game has brought us together with wonderful people, and how it all ends up and how it all shakes out for everybody. That's kind of what we're trying to tell. No matter how grueling or how successful the path is, the journey, we're all connected. And that is one thing that I'm so thankful for, that this sport that we all started playing when we were really young, we didn't really know what it was going to be, and that it all brought us to this point. It's like, that is what, to me, this is why we did it, and this is why we do it. And I can't thank you enough. I've said it a million times, and you're part of this family, and anything that you're doing going forward, we can't wait to continuously partner, support, and be part of your life and be part of everything that we're doing. And I thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. We'll get the content buzzing. I'll come on again after the book comes out, and then we can really get into some of the shit, like some of the deeper And then in the future, when this book's all 95% like hockey, it's for the hockey kids, it's for the hockey people, and it's a little bit of the spirituality right at the end to kind of get people ready for the next book that would come. That'll be all a deep dive into it, because I want to take everybody on this journey with me, right? So I would love to stay connected to see you guys grow, all the things you're doing. Who knows what Owen's going to start a freaking business, and maybe he's going to start one when he's still playing. Like, you guys are all doing this business that supports and helps people, but also you enjoy doing. You guys are following the blueprint, man, of life, and everybody listening should there's no wonder why you've built this following in this platform.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. But we're going to leave all the information for everything that you're doing as well. We're so excited to promote you and just continuously, like you said, just continuously partner and grow this amazing partnership. But we thank you again, man.
Thank you, fellas. Namaste. Love you very much.
Love you too.
Love you, man. Namaste.
Guys, thank you so much for Curtis joining the show. As you can tell, this guy has had an amazing journey playing, the appreciation for what the game has given to him, but also everything that he's taken from that. And more importantly, everybody that we associate with, how are they making the hockey community better, making great partnerships? And we're so happy and honored to just, like Logan said, call him family, have him part of our partnerships as we go forward and as we grow together and contribute to the hockey community.
Yeah, and I know Curtis mentioned it in the podcast, but everyone, we're going to put some links down below too. Curtis is dropping a book here soon. He just dropped his Fight Plan podcast. Please tune into that, support him. And it was just, like I said, a dream come true to be able to have him on the podcast and tell his story about his time in the NHL, even before that, to where he is now. It's just so beautiful, and the appreciation he has not only for hockey but for life. It's amazing, and thank you again, brother.
It was just amazing, full circle moment. You know, you're still tough as nails, and you've accomplished so much in your NHL career, and to just shed some light on the next generation and our platform, we can't thank you enough, man. And I can't wait to see what's next for you.
For those who haven't seen Kurtis Gabriel fight clips, do us a favor, look him up, because this is a person that you want in your corner on all phases of your life. And when I talk about all phases of your life, I'm talking like in a back alley, because Curtis was a badass. And brother, we love you. On that note, boys, this would not be allowed, not even permitted, without the amazing continued support of our sponsors, Buddy Hockey Club, Best Damn Tape, DraftKings Sportsbook, Quench Hydration. This was a good one, boys. And again, it was one of those pinch me moments where, just to show that somebody that is so awesome was able to want to come on our show. You guys can share this sentiment as well. We were just so happy and honored, and it just we pinch ourselves every day. We're so happy and fortunate to be doing this, and we love it.
Yeah, Curtis shot us a video message and, asked to be a part of it. And, we were planning on asking him anyway. So it's just so cool, man. And we love all of you so much. Thank you for watching our mugs and listening to our voices every week.
Another episode closer to the Big 50, fellas. I can't wait. And it's just amazing that, we have people like Curtis on and that are willing to want to come on. And it's just a pinch me moment. And I can't wait to see, for you guys listening, we got a very, very special one coming up. So stay tuned for that. And LRL family, we love you. Curtis, namaste, brother.